Good morning everyone and welcome back. So today is Monday the 13th and it is cold this morning. I had to put on my milking sleeves. I probably almost would have worn a beanie if there was one lying on the bench when I left home. But we do have a massive cyclone coming to hit New Zealand again. It's not long after all that flooding happened last time, about 2 weeks ago, and we've got another one. North for us is straight through there in that direction, which is Auckland. It's about an hour and a half away. And that's where this tropical cyclone, I think it's actually called an ex-tropical cyclone, Gabrielle, is supposed to hit later on today. And it's pretty big because like the lowest air pressure Auckland's ever recorded has been about, I think it was 972, and it's looking like this one might get down in the 960s, which is pretty insane. There's a lot of rain to come. The east coast is going to get absolutely hammered again. I think we're going to get off pretty lightly again because the east coast is pretty much just going to be the brunt of it all. So we did have a little bit of rain last night, but it wasn't much, although they're forecasting quite a bit to come this afternoon, sort of starting around 4 o'clock and then carry through the night. It's a little bit hard to see. The trees are moving around a little bit. There's a little bit of wind. It's not real strong, although that's supposed to get worse as well. When I get in this morning, I'll pull it up on the computer so you can sort of see what I mean a little bit better. This new milk lift pump that we put in, or new old one, it was to replace the other one because they had a knocking sound, but this one's got like 2 knocking sounds now, so it's not any better. I'd say it's probably worse, but oh well, it'll do. It's still working. It's raining pretty lightly at the moment, so I thought I'd use this opportunity to go and fill up the mixer wagon, because this afternoon it's probably going to be wet and it'd just be way easier to do it now. Why do I recover it? Well, otherwise the birds get in there and eat all the corn, and that's the good bit, so it sort of annoys me. It's not too bad rolling it off and rolling it back every day. I'd prefer to do it that way. Might just put a little bit of molasses in it because the weather's a bit bad. This tank's pretty much empty. I think the level's like down here somewhere. Oh, there's a little bit left. Yummy. The rain's sort of set in now. A little bit heavier, but I thought I'd come and empty the rain gauge so I can see how much we get. Let's see how much we've had in the last couple of weeks. That's 175 mils. Start again. On the Met Service website, this is severe weather warnings. You can see like the whole of Northland there is in sort of red warning, so is Taranaki and over in Gisborne. So I think the coast is going to get hit the hardest. And if we go and have a look at this pressure, so you can see, we'll go back to the start. This is where the cyclone is here. It's a little bit hard to see New Zealand, but we are just sort of in the middle there where my finger is. And if you move this maps, the cyclone's getting closer and closer, and just between those two, that's where it's sort of crashing in to Auckland. So Auckland's getting hammered again, unfortunately. They have actually shut the airport, and then it sort of bounces off the coast here. That's why that Gisborne's in red, and then out to sea. On the rain radar, you can see the North Island's just getting hammered. There's not much happening down south, unfortunately, for those guys, because they need it. They're in a bit of a drought in places. And then this is the 3-day rain forecast. So the redder it is, the more severe. And it's a little bit hard to see this map too, but we are probably just in here somewhere. And you can see, look at that, that's crazy. So that is 10 o'clock tonight, when I think it's hitting at about 4 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be its worst. You can sort of see the eye there, I guess, and it's heading out. But yeah, pretty crazy. See, Gizzy's getting hit again. But that is nuts. Look at that. Absolutely crazy. Even the east coast down on the Hawke's Bay here, like they're copping it. So we might actually get off reasonably lucky, because we're sort of in here, and it's I think most of the hills over on the east coast, they're going to take a lot of it, and then also like we're sort of shaded by a few hills through here. I still think we're going to get a bit of rain, but probably not as bad as what those guys are. Mum and my auntie have actually been over in the UK for the last couple of weeks. They have been visiting some of our family over there, and they were due to come back tomorrow, but since all the flights have been cancelled into Auckland, their flight's been cancelled, so they're stuck in Singapore at the moment. Their next available flight in is, they got told, on the 27th, but I think they'll pick up something before that. Insurance is covering all the expenses, but that's, I guess, why you get travel insurance when you get stuff like this. I don't particularly want to go out there, but it's not going to get any better, and it's not real heavy, so I've just got one little job I need to go and do, and that's really me until I need to feed out. Chickens are getting out of it, and I don't blame them. It's a bit hard to tell, but that wind's actually picked up quite a bit, so hopefully all these maize crops around, that's probably one of the worrying things at the moment. They're getting quite heavy, so if the winds pick up heaps, it could sort of blow them over. I've set up a paddock just through there, number 2, for the cows tonight. It is sheltered, it's got a couple of hedges in there. They'll be pretty happy. I've given them quite a bit more maize tonight and a little bit more piquet just to sort of warm them up. There is a lot of grass. I've given them big breaks too, but just try and keep them nice and warm. Although they don't mind the cold as such, it's just the wind that can really get to them, and it's not real cold, but putting them somewhere nice and sheltered should help with that. Hopefully all the trees handle it too, and we don't get too many that blow over, or any. This is one of those lucerne bales. There's 3 here. I opened it up yesterday, and I'm just taking some up for those lame cows now. Bit of water in there. I usually give them a little bit of maize and piquet, but if there's still some of this left this afternoon, I might just leave it. There's quite a bit of lucerne there for them. that's all the must-have jobs done. So now it's just a bit of an inside day really until I need to feed out, do a little bit of editing. I didn't tip this rain gauge out, and that is including the rain we had last night, so it's just up to 15 mils. It'll be nice if we didn't get over that 50 mark, because these paddocks are already pretty wet, and I think they will flood this time if we get quite a bit. Good day to watch the Super Bowl though. Go the Chiefs. There was 3 points in it when I left the house, and I think they're in the third quarter, but I do support the Chiefs. I don't watch a lot of NFL, but when I was working in America, I was based in Kansas. I know Kansas City's mostly in Missouri, but that was just the team I sort of went for while I was over there, and they're doing pretty well to have made the Super Bowl 3 times in the last, is it 5 or 6 years or something like that? So yeah, they're doing alright. I'm going to put these cows on the feed pad now. That wind's definitely increased quite a bit. It's pretty windy out here, and I think it's only supposed to get worse, so yeah, I really hope all the maize is alright. Probably not the end of the world if that plastic lifts up, but try and stop that happening. They've made a little bit of a mess in the gateway here, but it's really not too bad, and it wasn't actually this time. I think it was another time that they mostly did it, so nothing really too serious to worry about, but this should fill them up. I am just pondering whether I actually put them in another paddock that I'm thinking of, which might be a little bit more sheltered, sort of, it's on a bit of a hill. Yeah, I don't know, I'm tossing it up. They're probably alright where they're going though. Pretty much did clean all that lucerne up. There's a little bit on the ground there, but give them some maize, fill them up. The wind was sort of coming from that direction this morning, but it's sort of turned now and it's coming from more of the south. So I was going to put them in there and I thought they'd be alright, but I might stick them in that paddock there, number 9, so then the wind will sort of blow over the top and they can get down the bottom there. Be a bit better. Along with the Auckland airport shutting down, they also shut down all the schools up in Auckland, and I think businesses were maybe essential travel only. If you can work from home, work from home. They were sort of just battening down the hatches and preparing for it, especially after the last one. But so it's going to be a bit of a clean up job. Like, this is pretty crazy. I think originally the cyclone was a category 3 and they scaled it back to a 2, but it doesn't mean like there's any less rain or wind that comes with it. It's still quite strong. It's going to be nuts, like when we get up and milk in the morning, if that's when sort of D-Day is for it, when it's supposed to hit. Hopefully we don't lose too many trees, or too many trees come down, especially like the ones that are in the maize paddocks. If they come down in there, that's going to be, yeah, a bit disappointing. We're going to lose a bit of maize, but is what it is at the moment. I'm on to my 3rd jacket. The other 2 are pretty wet, but I'm standing down the bottom here at the base of this hill, and it's pretty sheltered here. It's maybe a little exposed, but along there it is sweet as, so these girls will be fine here for the night. Nice and comfortable. Young herd's just there, they are real sheltered. They've got the hedge there, plus the wind that's coming over will blow over, so they're going to be pretty comfy as well. This paddock's starting to flood. All the ducks that have just been sitting out there. Might be a little bit hard to see, but there's hundreds of them. Go now. I'm about to head in for the night, but I will just check the rain gauge. I don't think I've actually had that much. So what did I say this morning? 15, and it's about there, just under 30. So that's 15 mils in roughly probably about 6 hours, so it's not much really. It's just really windy. We'll see what it's like in the morning. We'll see the damage maybe, I'm not sure. Ugh. We've got power this morning, so that's a good thing. We can milk the cows. But our milk hasn't been picked up last night. The tanker was supposed to come this morning at about 3:30, so you can see the milk line there. This vat is a 5,700 litre vat, and we're sending about 3,100 litres at the moment. So it's not all going to fit. Girls are all happy though, they're all sitting down. Time to go to work, come on. Certainly not in any rush to get up this morning though. Come on. Just thinking, if the cows give 3,000 litres yesterday and today, then we're short about 600 litres, which is probably like 70-75 milk solids, which is quite a bit. So maybe I should just ring the transport part of Fonterra to make sure that they know. I don't know, I'm just sort of fixing that up. But last night the wind was coming from sort of straight through there to the south, and it's changed right around this morning and it's coming in from the west, and we're actually quite sheltered here. Like this morning it's actually quite a lot warmer, won't need my sleeves on, and the wind seems to have died down. It was pretty strong last night, like it was howling, but then again my bedroom is right next to some big trees and maybe it sounded worse than it was, but I just, yeah, couldn't sleep too well last night. I was worried about the maize getting blown over, but I think it should have been alright. We'll go and check a little bit later and see how much rain we got. I don't think we got a heck of a lot. I can't actually see the level of the tank anymore. It's not that's just part of the stainless. I think it's probably above this weld line here at the moment somewhere. Hoping that it says 5,700, but it actually takes a little bit more. I haven't got too many rows left. I've only got 4 rows to go and I need to fit them in, but it's going to be very tight. The last full row's on at the moment. There's only another 5 cows over here that need to go in the vat, and I've nervously been looking at the pipe down there because that's where all the water out of the vat room comes down into the drain and it's not flowing with milk yet, so that's a good sign. Should fit now if we've got this far along. These 5 cows should definitely fit in. Didn't quite make it. That's where it's come out of the breather at the top there, so I got pretty close. Darcy's maize is straight through there above that shed, and there's just a little corner there that looks a little bit wind damaged. I don't think it's completely blown over through there, it's just sort of leaning quite heavily. I was just having a little bit of breakfast before, and apparently all the tankers, like in the, I'm not sure where, but most of them in the upper North Island maybe, weren't going last night due to the weather. They thought it better just not to send them out and have trouble, so that's why our vat wasn't picked up last night. I didn't know that. Apparently techs were flying around, but we didn't get one, and there's actually quite a lot of people that have had to dump their milk because the tanker still can't get there, so definitely feel for those guys. Fonterra will repay it. They'll probably take like an average of over the last, I don't know, over the last week or whatever, and they'll pay out for that, so it's not like they're not getting paid. But it is a bit of a shame to dump milk, you know, you've put all that hard work in and you've milked the cows and then you've got to put it down the drain. I definitely feel for them, that sucks. The North Island's also been put in a state of emergency. I'm not sure if it's like the whole of the North Island or whereabouts, but I'm not even sure what that means. I guess the army comes in, they help out, and yeah, I don't really know. I didn't really read too much into it, but pretty crazy. Doesn't happen that often, things like that here. There's actually quite a bit of blue sky around and it's nice and warm, which is nice. This tree's having a little bit of a sleep, but check out the root ball on it. It's actually not that big, eh? Like the roots haven't gone down. I guess they've all snapped off, but yeah, there's a little bit of firewood there to clean up. I'm gonna go have a shoot around, see if I can see any other damage, but my cover didn't stay on. There's a little bit of water there, but hopefully that goes down over today. I'm coming over here because I'll get a good view of these maize paddocks, especially that one, because that would have bore the brunt of it and maybe a little bit more than the others. That one looks alright, the other two are fine because they're sort of over the hill. That paddock's actually sweet as. You can tell if it is sort of blowing over, and the corner of that one looks fine. It's just mainly the one on the hill there, which is a little bit sheltered too, which is probably sweet. I was a little bit worried these gum trees might fall over too, but they're fine, and the trees up on the back there, they all look like they're standing, which is good because they probably would have fallen this way with the wind and blown into the maize, but everything's sweet as this side. That looks alright. The leaves are a little bit shredded, but the plants are still fine. There might be a little bit of damage, but it's really not much. So it's just a few of these plants up here have been pushed over a little bit, and maybe a couple down the bottom there, like this. It's still in the ground, it's just leaning over. It's bad when you get plants like this though, that snap at the base there, and they're folded over, which makes it hard work, but there's not much like that. Maybe just a few that are in here. Oh, it's snapped there. Safe to say, I think we got off very lightly. I was expecting a few more sort of branches or trees to fallen down, but I've had a pretty good look around and I can't really see any others apart from the one before. Usually you might get the odd big branch that sort of topples down, especially like over on the walnuts there, but can't seem to see anything, so that's good. Less cleanup, but with the maize we got off very lightly as well. I've also seen a few photos floating around at the moment of crops that are lying on the ground, which absolutely sucks. I feel sorry for them. It's yeah, it's a bit of a shame. They can still get it with the chopper, they can still pick it up, but it is a pretty slow work, and I think you do lose more cobs off it too, which sort of sucks. So yeah, definitely feeling for them. The wind's sort of picking up. It's picked up since this morning, but I think we're sort of through the worst of it now, and yeah, like I said before, we got off very lightly. Maybe some of it's due to the fact that sort of up here is high, but then the rest of the farm sort of goes down like this to the flats, which are down on the bottom there. So maybe the wind sort of come from the south there, blowing across the top maybe. That's why some of that maize over there's sort of on the lean. No expert, it was just what I was thinking. The woodshed's been blowing off its base though, which is down there, but that was Pop's original calf shed that he used to use. There were like 2 pens in there, and I think it was like a slatted floor, so the stuff could fall through it, and then it looks like there's hooks on here that he could sort of tow it around wherever he needed to move it to. But I'm not sure if it's really worth fixing that, unfortunately. Jeez, I really hope I didn't speak too soon. It's actually getting pretty windy again now. It's picked up quite a bit, and there's a few areas over in this maize, like up in the hill there, that looks like they've sort of gone down. There's quite a big area just in here which I didn't notice this morning. That could have been a casualty of this afternoon's wind, so yeah, a little bit annoying. Hopefully we come out the end of it. I think the forecast is for like the next 36 hours to be quite windy, and then it's supposed to die off, so if we can get through till then, fingers crossed. But I'll let you know how we go. That'll pretty much wrap it up for this video, guys. All up we had about 50 mils of rain, so I did show you a little bit of flooding earlier on, but it wasn't too bad. Hope you enjoyed it. Thumbs up, keep safe everyone, and see you next time.